Calcio. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to your Calcio Roundup. That's a big homage to our good friend Sam Adamo. If you watch the Bordello, you know. Pretty damn good clip.
Went on a bit of a rant.
Yeah, went on a pretty awesome rant. Forza Italia. But anyways, guys, welcome to the Sassuolo pregame show. It's me, Dash. Dave over here. Dave, buddy, how are you?
Doing well. Another Friday match, which means we're here, or Saturday match, which means we're here Friday. My bad. So coming in again on a nice Friday morning to bring you a pregame. So let's get after it because there's really not tons of news to talk about this week. Very quiet week after a bit of drama the previous one. So kind of nice, actually, in that sense. So let's focus in then on this pre-match. And before we head off, let's do the like and subscribe thing because it's super important to us. We love to see that number tick up. Let's just do it because it's easy. It's easy.
Tick her up. Also, just kind of some housekeeping. There was a very special week this week where we were able to get 2 podcast episodes out this week instead of the one. So we are with 224 and 225 out right now on the Spotify. Maybe upload it to YouTube. I don't know. I mean, you guys have already probably seen it on Spotify. If you haven't, you can go see it on there. And
let us know. Let us know if you want. If you want the podcast also on the YouTube.
Yeah. So give us some feedback on there. But yeah, nobody is juicing this week, and nobody is saying weird things on Twitch, Dave. So it is a normal week.
Yes, normal week. Biggest news really is the injury to Sandro, looking at like about 6 weeks, October timeframe.
As terrible as it is, but I guarantee you there's a bunch of people that are celebrating and rejoicing.
Yes, because Gatti now gets the start, which means now Huijsen is moving up into the first team.
Oh boy, is my bet going to be correct or not?
We'll see, because I have a feeling. I have a feeling we're on the verge of an injury. I'm not jinxing anything here. We play again on Tuesday. We've gotten to the season now. The first month's sort of done. I don't know. We'll see.
Come on.
Capito. But that allows Huijsen perhaps to make that step up, so your prediction can come true. Is what I'm getting at.
That was a nice way to dance around it. But any who's and any tidbits, right? We should probably go over the sussy of the Sassuolios. These guys have been kind of atrocious to start the season, right? So this is going to be 12 p.m. mine and Dave's time, 6 p.m. Italian time. It's going to be Massimiliano Allegri versus Alessio Dionisi. So kind of going over the lineups, what we've got projected here. So we've got Tech, Danilo, Bremer, and Gatti. Timmy makes his return to the starting lineup on the right side with Moretti, Locatelli, Rabiot, and I only cross when I cross-stitch. Kostic is starting on the left, and then followed by the super duo of, I can't believe he used his right foot, Dusan Vlahovic, and Chiesa, the only 10 I see, Federico Chiesa. Yeah.
Ooh. Does he change the number? I know that's an aside, but we'll get into that later. Does he change it to 10 if Pogba leaves?
That would be interesting. If he does, I would be the happiest man on the planet.
Future content.
Absolutely, because then I can sit there and be like, look at me. That's why the streets call me the Oracle. I predicted he'd be a 10. But I digress with my pettiness. We move on to Sassuolo. So we have Pinamonti. We have my favorite Albanian player in Serie A, Bayrami. Guy's a stud. He's an absolute stud. And then you have Domenico Berardi, which is Colin's favorite player. I'm just kidding. Then you have Loriente. You have Henrique. And then you have Boloca as your midfield pivots, and then you have Vina, and you have Tresoldi, Eric. It's Elric. Erlich. It's weird. And then Tolian, or I would like to call this guy Trojan from here on out, just because of the way that it's worded out. And then Cragano, because he loves calcio. Cragano and calcio.
Oh man, that's I think maybe your favorite Samism,
dude. Yes. I'm sorry, that is my favorite Samism because he's like Forza Italia, calcio. I love calcio. My calcio hat.
We clipped it.
I like IFTV. Look, I'm wearing a calcio hat. No, I'm gonna go watch calcio. Calcio is life. I like calcio. I like IFTV. Look, I'm wearing a calcio hat.
We love you, Sam. We love you, buddy. So looking at their recent form against us, they did get that 1-0 win against us in April towards the end of the season where we've kind of mentally fell apart in a sense. But Juve have been quite fair in terms of beating Sassuolo. So we beat them 3-0 at the beginning of last season, 2-1 both times in the previous season after that. And if you're looking at their form, Sassuolo have been absolutely atrocious. So they lost against Frosinone.
He got it right. He just has
I
to do it
got
real
it
slow.
right. I just need to go very, very slow. Sassuolo beats Hellas Verona. So that's their only win of the season where they beat Hellas Verona 3-1. They lost 2-0 to Napoli. They lost 2-0 to Atalanta, where, again, we've been pretty damn awesome with our start to the season, minus the Bologna of Bologna. But overall, Sassuolo ranked 10th in goals scored per match, so their offense is not that great. Have conceded the most penalties this season. So, Dusan, redeem yourself with that shitty penalty you took against Empoli. And then Sassuolo have not kept a clean sheet in 9 matches. Juve currently ranked with the 3rd best offense. I believe they're tied with Milan, so technically 2nd. Obviously Inter, because Inter decided to stat pad against Milan. Juve have not lost in 8 matches, so 8-match undefeated streak by Massimiliano Allegri. Capito. And then Tech ranked 2nd in saves per competition so far with 5. So overall, Juve looking quite juicy. I think this one's going to be a done and dusted, or a that's it and that's all, right? So
There is
go
one
ahead.
thing to keep in mind as well, just in terms of rotation, who's going to be starting getting minutes. So there are midweek games coming up. We play Tuesday against
Milk.
Verona. Lecce, sorry.
Yep, and we play against Milk.
We play against the Milk. And then Sassuolo has to play Inter. So they have back-to-back massive games against the 1st and 2nd place team right now. Yeah, I don't know. Do they just take it one game at a time, go all in against us, and see what happens against Inter? Do they do the squad rotation thing? That's part of the tactics that will be interesting to see match day tomorrow.
Yeah, and honestly, that's kind of what you would want them to do, right? It's I don't want to look beneath them and say, oh yeah, Sassuolo's not really, but Sassuolo's not in a good spot right now. They're struggling right now as far as organization goes. So this one's one of those things where, especially if we're up against Lecce as well, I think we go ahead early, coast the second half tactically, and then we go on for Lecce, right? Because we're really our biggest game that we're gonna have on the schedule because of no Champions League. Our biggest game is going to be October 1st against Atalanta, right? So we play Sassuolo tomorrow, and then we play Lecce on the 26th. And then on the October 1st, we have a turnaround with Atalanta. So, in my opinion, I think we should cruise through the next 2 games while just making sure that everyone stays healthy. But with Sassuolo and their goals conceded record going on right now, with how easy they're to score
They're
on,
-4, yeah. Not looking good.
I would expect us to score quite early. And obviously here, so we have the dashogram pulled up. So when you're looking at it from a tactical perspective, Sassuolo play, they try to do a possession based. It's a 4-2-3-1, like that in a sense. So obviously what they're going to do is they're going to try to attack through the middle, Bayrami being their main pivot over here. So offensively, they're going to have Pinamonti push on Bremer. Bayrami is going to push into the hole here against Loca. Us, normally when we're defensive, we go like this, where everyone kind of pushes in like that. And then they're going to try to have something happen. So I'm going to switch numbers because Berardi's actually here. So these guys will push on the wing and try to really create things through the middle. That's normally how it works, because you have your defensive pivots occupy the space here, and then your fullbacks here, and then they have a very high line, right? And then obviously this is going to be a little bit lower. These guys will be here and like this. So the cheat code to beating these guys is obviously getting things in behind towards the wings. So the real key, and this is why I'm a little bit skeptical with Kostic starting instead of Cambiaso, but again, I don't make the lineups. I just report and say how FotMob makes shitty lineups.
We're still let's just note as well. Yeah, we typically get the proposed lineups 24 hours out. We're a couple hours from that at time of recording. So, I mean, grain of salt, subject to change.
Exactly. So the idea here is when you want to break away, you essentially want, so the ball is going to, say the ball is like in this area here, say that Gatti or Tech or someone has it. The idea is you want to attack the space here, because this is what Sassuolo leaves open all the time. because they're focusing all their efforts in the middle, they usually leave that open. So when you have a fast guy like Timmy or Cambiaso and whatnot, you're able to exploit this area here. And then the idea is like, for example, you want to utilize Doosan as a pivot, or our good friend Moise Keane, where he's able to, because you can see how there's cracks and space in between these areas here. So you'll have alleyways to move the ball from Doosan's perspective as well, or even Chiesa too, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how this guy, Mr. Locatelli, pings the direction of play. So this game should be one of those games where Locatelli, in my opinion, feasts. He should feast on this Sassuolo backline. Lots of gaps, lots of spaces. I mean, Sule did that when they played Sassuolo last weekend, where Sule was able to pick just really good spots and make Chidira look like a world-class striker, even though Chidira was in Serie B last season. So you want to look at it from that perspective, right? And then say that we're doing build-up play. Of course, I think Sassuolo's weak in the knees defensively. If you catch my drift.
Oh, there's a reference to the podcast title.
I know I'm so diabolical with my references today. So when you look at breaking Sassuolo down defensively, so you have your pivots that are going to help in the middle, and then you have these guys that kind of crash in over here. You're going to want to focus in on your inverted play here again. So that's why I have a very hard time buying the Kostic stock, but you'll have Loca here. You'll have Moretti hold the area here. Gatti will probably pull up in this spot here. Bremer will be here. Rabiot will be here, where Chiesa will put up here, and then Danilo will hold this space here. So if you look at it here, so remember how they like to play their new tactics, right? It's a box. So they want to make their passing lanes essentially in a box. So here as well, you have Kostic, Chiesa, Rabiot, and Danilo. And then Doosan's kind of like the guy in the middle where they throw the ball and heave it in a sense and say bleep it. But yeah, so depending on what direction, because now Danilo is playing on the left, Loca can really just focus in on one side of the field and create. And then you also have Tech that'll probably hang out here. So when you're looking at it from an offensive pattern standpoint, now because Danilo is kind of like a mini regista, he's like a center back regista in a sense, where he's able to do and understand where the ball goes. So you're going to have these diamonds or these parallelograms. How many of you remember that? You can have these parallelograms here where you're going to have intricacies of play and different movements. So Juve attack almost with like a box formation. So that's going to be the idea where they clutter Sassuolo in an area here, throw them in what I like to call this box here, no man's land. And then essentially what they'll do is they'll force these guys out of position to try to cover the box like this. And then what happens? You free up this guy. And that's what happened against Lazio, right? So, quite simple, actually. There's not really too much rocket science in regards to tactically breaking down Sassuolo. Like, I might actually have to spend some time if we're doing it against Roma, because Mourinho and his terror ball run supreme. But Sassuolo with Dionisi, yes, we're playing there, but I think they don't have momentum, and we have momentum going on right now, and we don't have any other baloney that's going on to distract us. I think it's light work.
And that was the biggest takeaway from Allegri's presser, was basically, let's just chill out. Season's young. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Take it one game at a time. He was just being extremely Allegri about everything. And he continued to really emphasize that all we need is the top four. Just chill out. Just top four. Let's just not freak out.
But if we win with Calcio, we might get something good. Capito.
Yeah. So, I mean, not even much in the presser to talk about either. That was more or less it. Of course, they talked about Berardi because we were linked with him. One day there will be a good presser, and we'll talk about it. I promise.
We'll analyze it completely. But until that day, it will not come. But on that note, if you want a good presser, go watch the Bordello. We've referenced him a lot in the video. Check out our good emerging comic, Sam Goddamn Adamo. That's going to be my new nickname for him. Check that out. Also, check out the podcast on Spotify. It is our new home. We're migrating from SoundCloud to Spotify because it's just way better sound quality. Like it's night and day. So you can hop on there. We might start throwing the pods on YouTube. It's just previously you guys didn't really like it too much just due to the numbers. So we're just kind of like, well, might as well not throw it on there. But hey, let us know. But on that note, Dave, you have any final thoughts before we go bye-bye?
Today is the launch day, the pre-launch day for EA FC 24. So Discord, hit up that QR code, get in our Discord, get into our pro teams. We are starting tonight, Friday, looking like 7 Eastern. So if you're watching this still before then, get on there, catch the live stream. We're starting it up. The few of us, I think there's 3 so far that have the pre-release. Dash, he's a peasant. He'll get it in a few days. It's okay. If you're one of those guys, it'll get it in a few days as well. No, it's all good. Obviously, we went to get it a bit early so we can start getting the content out for you guys and start the team, get it rolling. So please do join us. It's open to everyone. We just want to have a bit of fun and maybe kick some ass. That's it. That's all I got. So yeah, we'll see you game
Tomorrow.
time. Yeah, game time. Have a good one, guys. Dash.
Forza Calcio, Forza Juve.